Well, Whalers fan already started the 2018-2019 NTDP season thread. Maybe it's the off-season thread. I can't remember. Um, thanks for doing that. Uh, Value that guy's opinion in his post a lot. Remember, he's a season ticket holder. He lives right there. He gets a front row view. No pun intended. Obviously, to watch these guys play. But also he's actually there and hears things and whatnot. So certainly he's a guy that's very passionate about the game and about this team, as we all are, right? But yeah, I just wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in as far as this upcoming season goes. Um, the season starts, I think, a little bit earlier than it usually does. It starts September 7th, when the U17s get off and run into, I think it's Johnstown against the Tomahawks. Yeah, I just pulled it up right now, which is a team in the North American Hockey League. Another interesting thing, too, is every year, as you guys probably know, the USHL puts on a showcase called the Fall Classic, which takes place at the UPMC Lemieux Sportsplex in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh area. And what's cool about this year is they're going to actually have that be the first actual 2 games of the regular season for the USHL clubs that are there. I think they might all be playing 3 games. I'm not entirely sure. I did look at the schedule, but I just put like a left eye on it. I didn't really look at it in depth yet. But I think I remember the report saying that 2 games, the final 2 games that they play there, will be counted towards in the regular season standings, which is pretty cool for the people that are there, the spectators that are at that event, seeing them play, some meaningful games there. I mean, hey, why not, right? I mean, so what? It's in a neutral site. You're all playing on the same ice sheet. Maybe it's more of a home feel for the Youngstown Phantoms, maybe, because they're pretty much kind of right there, kind of right down the road. But hey, it's pretty cool. It's something that's unique. I know the OHL now is doing their own showcase preseason tournament. It's not counting towards the regular season or nothing like that. It's just a showcase. They're doing it at the Harbor Center, and now they're doing one in Kitchener, Ontario as well. Which, interestingly enough, the Moncton Wildcats of the QMJHL are going to be there now too. Um, I don't know. That's a different story. I think the CHL, because I follow that very closely too, is slowly pushing for an interleague series that happens once a year, kind of like baseball does. I don't know. That's a different topic. I don't really want to see that happen. That's what makes the Memorial Cup so special. Is those 4 teams playing against each other that are all from the different leagues, and yet you haven't played against them. Regardless, that's a separate topic. When I start talking hockey, guys, I can get all over the board. I just I have a million things going on in my mind. But anyway, to keep this on point here. Yes, I mean, Whalers fan pointed it out in his post earlier about how the schedule did get released, and especially one of the headlines every year is the college games. What NCAA teams is the NTDP going to play this year? You have your usual teams that they usually play against, like the Minnesotas, the Michigans, Lake Superior State, they always seem to play every year too, as well as Adrian College, right? And some pretty cool schools coming to USA Hockey Arena, which I like that they're doing this. These schools aren't, too good or too big to actually come there and actually play a game at USA Hockey Arena. Minnesota being one of them. Bowling Green's actually really cool too. Guys, I mean, college hockey is a really good brand of hockey. I would encourage anybody that maybe lives in the Plymouth/Ann Arbor area to go and check out a game at Bowling Green. It's not too far from you. I've been there. I saw a playoff game there a couple of years ago. I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they played Northern Michigan, and it was a fantastic game. That's a fantastic facility. I actually turned around and I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this before yet, but Dan Bilesma was actually at the game. He's an alum of BG. It goes to show that these guys, no matter how far you progress in the game of hockey, whether you become an NHL player, a coach, a GM, whatever, these guys are still true to their roots. They respect the game, and they know where the talent is, okay? I talk to some of my buddies out here. For example, when I go watch the Cleveland Barons play, for example, and they say, why are you going to watch a team of 15-year-olds play? Well, because they're some of the best 15-year-olds in the entire country, okay? You know, some of the guys that are coming in there and playing against them, some of the kids, I should say, you could end up potentially seeing in the National Hockey League one day. Is it guaranteed? No, but you know, there's some kids that are playing with the NTDP that I saw play that a couple years ago. Case McCarthy being one of them for the Buffalo Junior Sabres. Yeah, I already made a video talking about that before. So, you know, lots of good stuff out there, man. I mean, and if you're a real hockey fan, you're out there and you're trying to watch some of this stuff when you can. But Bowling Green, I recommend anybody to go up there or down there and try and watch a game from their home rink. It's such a cool facility. It's got that close seating bowl. I like it. Plus their student section, nicknamed the Bleacher Creatures, are pretty fun to watch. So University of Maine comes there too. Really cool school to see come in as well. I always love those colors, man. That the light blue, the dark blue. It's just little things in life that you gotta appreciate, right? And one of the things too, the Holy Cross game, and Whalers fan made a good point of this. You know, the NTDP and even going before that, the Whalers never really did a game on an actual holiday like that, being January 1st, which is a pretty interesting point to make. Thank you for bringing that up. One of the things too, and I even think that can be a marketing ploy as far as USA Hockey and the NTDP is concerned. And here's why I think that. I mean, the World Juniors are becoming more and more popular as we go along here. As hockey continues to grow in this country as well as the World Juniors, remember, for the last 2 years, the World Juniors Summer Showcase came to USA Hockey Arena. I made the trip up to both of them. It was fantastic. I loved that. And this tournament's obviously aired on the NHL Network. And 2 years ago, when USA won the gold medal up in Montreal, it was literally a trending topic on Twitter. There was like NFL players tweeting about that, like, "Hey, you guys seen what's going on in this with this hockey game?" So, I mean, people for sure know what it is out there. And I tell you what, man, if I was working somehow with the NTDP or you know, got involved in this somehow, I'd say, guys, we need to target this game as a marketing ploy. I mean, you have January 1st. The only killer, and I didn't even think about this before I click play on this video, is that's a college football hotbed right there, especially January 1st, I believe. So I understand that. But, I mean, think about it. You have the World Juniors that's going on at that same time, and anybody that's a big hockey fan is paying attention to that, right? I mean, I freaking know that I am. And you have Team USA and those guys playing. On December 31st is the last day of the round robin. There's no games on January 1st. If I'm living in that area, man, I'm watching the World Juniors. I'm, you know, patriotic, watching Team USA, you know, and then for sure on January 1st at 2 o'clock, I'm going to USA Hockey Arena and watching the future wave of World Junior stars play against Holy Cross. Why not? I mean, you're watching kids on any given year that are going to be first-round picks in the National Hockey League. Lots of players that are coming through there. You're going to see guys that are going on to the National Hockey League. I actually retweeted an article, or maybe I posted it on Facebook, of how the National Team Development Program is a legit pipeline to the National Hockey League now. It's no longer just that Junior A team to the south of the border that plays against, you know, Junior A competition. You know, the USHL is a fantastic league now. They play against Division I college hockey teams that, excuse me, that are some of the cream of the crop. I mean, it's a fantastic brand of hockey. It's just phenomenal. Thing to point out too is, you know, I did watch a lot of midget AAA hockey this year, for example. You know, I always follow the OHL priority selection, aka the OHL draft, every year. And a lot of these names, though, guys, I didn't really recognize a whole lot. And let me pull this up here. Give me 1 second. So, real quickly here, by the way, the usual suspects of college hockey schools are widely represented here, right? For example, you got one from Boston College, three from Boston University, four that are not yet committed. As this year goes on, and then next year, if they do remain with the NTDP as a member of the U18 team, they should be college committed. Some just won't. Two from Minnesota Duluth, two from North Dakota, and three that are committed to Notre Dame. Sorry, two that are committed to North Dakota, two that are committed to Minnesota Duluth, not from Duluth, and then three committed to the University of Wisconsin. So a lot of your typical schools that usually get a lot of attention here, and also a lot of players in here that, and I remember I made the post and talked about it last year. It's always interesting to see, where these guys played last year, where they're college committed, and also what CHL team might own their draft rights. And looking at some of these guys, like played at Bishop Hendricken in high school in Rhode Island, Avon Old Farms, Notre Dame Academy in Wisconsin, Davies High School in North Dakota, as well as three that played hockey up in Canada. Give me 1 second, actually. My mouth is all dry. So, like, for example, Maple Grove, Brock Faber played there, and the couple of kids that played in Canada last year is Dylan Peterson, for example. That's a name that I already knew from following a lot of the OHL draft prospects too. A kid that was supposed to be, a guy that can go top 5 in the OHL draft as far as the beginning of last year. And GMs and scouts and whatnot that have the inside scoop, look at that and they're like, he's probably going to go the NTDP route. He is college committed to Boston University. He played for CIH Academy White, which is like a U18 AAA team in Ontario in the Ottawa area. Okay, and so being that he was 15 playing at that level already, shows you the kind of player that he actually is. And my favorite team in the OHL, the Flint Firebirds, for example, drafted a kid named Owen Power. Now, I actually was shocked that they got him in the second round, like 22nd overall, when here's a guy. Now, I didn't know, as I was watching the OHL draft live, I didn't know that 4 days before the draft he committed to the University of Michigan. I didn't know that. Obviously I did as soon as, before draft day was over. But he was another kid. He's like 6'4", 210-pound defenseman as a 15-year-old, but he can move, as a lot of these guys can do now, right? All these defensemen are good on their feet. They're fast. That's how you have to be to play at this level now. And he has those tools. And he was another guy that could have been like a top 5 pick in the OHL priority selection, but because of that aspect, teams kind of backed off a little bit. I don't know if he's ever going to come to Flint. I mean, who knows? But the Firebirds are a team too where I watched like every one of their games. And again, guys, that's stemming from the Plymouth Whalers. Formerly Compuware Arena. I used to go there a lot to watch those guys play. I kind of followed the team into Flint. Obviously, I love the NTDP. I watch a lot of their games as well. But I mean, a guy like Owen Power was also drafted 7th overall by the Chicago Steel in the USHL Phase 1 draft. So that goes to show you, he's probably going to go the college route as of right now. I'm pretty sure he hasn't committed to Flint, as of today at least. So anyway, I know I got sidetracked. I do it all the time. But then, like Thomas Bordeleau, for example, now he's the grandson of a Bordeleau that did play in the National Hockey League. I remember reading in the notes here. He's not committed, from Houston, Texas. Played for Esther Blondin, AAA, which is a team in Quebec, I believe. It's a AAA team there. As well as a defenseman by the name of Jake Sanderson, who played for Edge School, the 15 only program up in, I believe that's a school in Calgary, Alberta. So it's a pretty good hockey school there. I've actually heard of them. He's from Whitefish, Montana. I believe he has his CHL draft rights owned by the Kootenay Ice in the WHL. But again, a lot of these kids' names that are going to be wearing the USA jersey next year, I don't know a whole lot about. I can't really give any word on them like I did last year with that the post I did in writing about a lot of those guys. For example, Eamon Powell is someone that I've read about, but I've never seen him, whether it be any kind of stream or anything like that. Obviously living here in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, I can't really catch a lot of these guys play live. But I believe Jeff Cox, who follows a lot of prospects in the Northeast, the New England area, wrote a lot about him and said this kid's a for sure NTDP prospect next year. Tanner Latch, I did see him play a few times with Honeybaked at the OHL Battle of the Border. He was good, quick. Seems like he's got a lot of lower body strength too. He was so fast and so hard to knock off the puck. Dylan Peterson, I mentioned him. He's a really good player, guys. Watch for him. Landon Slagert from the Chicago Mission. He's good. The brother of... Who's the Slagert that played with the under-18 team 2 years ago? I can't remember his first name. You guys know who he is, though. Luke Tuck, the brother of Alex Tuck, who came through the program. Obviously, brother playing with the Minnesota Wild. His brother also played on the same team as, I believe, Sonny Milano and Jack Eichel and company. So lots of good stuff here to look forward to, guys. I mean, the season starts. Basically, your first game is like September 7th, where the U17s take on Johnstown. I don't think it's a home game. Regardless, if you do have a Hockey TV subscription, you can watch it there. That's how I watch pretty much all the games. It's under 2 months away now, and there's been a lot of hockey that's been going on, guys, too. I mean, USA Hockey puts on its national development camps every year for the 15, 16, and the 17s. Obviously, you have the 17 camp is how they choose the roster for Team USA at formerly the Ivan Hlinka, now called the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, which is going to be held this year in Alberta. I believe Edmonton and Red Deer is going to host that. So that'll be fun to watch. That's being streamed on Hockey TV as well. I really recommend you check that out. That's like the next best available players besides kids on the U18 team. So, for example, I know Hockey Canada is promoting it as, this is the true best on best tournament. It's not. First of all, it kind of is for European teams. Let me correct that. I mean, Canada sends its best players to this tournament, okay? Sweden and Finland, I believe, send their best as well. They have no other commitments really going on. Unless one of their really good players is playing potentially for one of their teams in the World Junior Summer Showcase. Okay, kind of like Rasmus Dahlin did last year for a little bit. But USA does not send. It sends some very good players, and some of them potentially could be some of our best available guys. I mean, look, it's not NTDP or nothing. Believe me, I'm not one of these guys where it's like if you don't play for the NTDP, you're a B-level player. I don't believe that. There's too many good players in our country now where there's going to be some very, very talented kids left off this team on any given year. That's obvious, right? But, Jack Hughes, for example, is not going to be there. So, keep in mind, watching that tournament, that it's a very good tournament with some very, very talented players on it. And if Team USA can come away with some good victories there, I think that's a big success for USA Hockey. Remember, I mean, we made it to the gold medal game a couple of years ago and we lost to the Czech Republic, which was that team just played very well. And then the team that we sent last year just. I mean, like the first game, we got beat by Sweden. What, like 8-1 or something like that? It was they killed us. If we sent our true best at the U18 level, could we still lose that game? 100%. That was a really good Sweden team. But would we lose 8-1? I don't think so. But then remember, you guys, you got the World Junior Summer Showcase that also goes on. That's fantastic. I went to see it live in person the past 2 years when it was held in Michigan at USA Hockey Arena. Fantastic hockey. Anytime you get USA Canada, I don't care if it's in the summertime or if it's in the wintertime, it's a fantastic tournament. It's a fantastic showcase, and they play balls to the wall hockey. Before this tournament or this showcase was televised, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, who gives a crap?" Especially when the United States won, right? If we beat Team Canada in this event, people would be like, "Oh, who gives a shit," right? But now that's televised and everything on TSN, NHL Network, now all of a sudden people are saying like, "Holy crap!" Like we lost. So now all of a sudden it's a big deal. Whereas before, when nobody really watched the streams of this, because that was the only place you could watch the summer showcase was via Fast Hockey, aka Hockey TV. Now that it's televised, now everybody loves to watch it now, and it's the best hockey you can watch all summer long. These kids are trying out for that team. They're fresh off. A lot of these guys are fresh off the NHL draft. It's some great hockey to watch. I mean, you wouldn't even know it's summertime when you're watching some of that. And then after that you got the USHL. The USHL showcase in Pittsburgh, where the Fall Classic, where you have a lot of the member clubs as well as Team USA is going to be there as well. Interesting note about that too, guys, is I think 2 of the games are going to count towards the USHL regular season. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not, but that's pretty cool. Putting it that you're going to see a lot more meaningful hockey being played there for sure. And that's a great venue. If you guys haven't been there, I saw the Youth Nationals there 2 years ago. Not a bad seat in the house. You could also sit like right behind. You can actually stand along the glass behind one of the nets and around one of the corners there too. So you can get a different angle and kind of see just the size of some of these guys. How fast the puck actually moves out there, the transition. That's all really cool to watch. So lots of good stuff going on here in the summertime. Wanted to kind of just throw this together. I actually play a beer league game here in like maybe an hour or so. So I'm kind of in the mood to just kind of talk about some hockey, and especially when it comes to some of our favorite teams. So till next time, that's just kind of my thoughts.